we are sweeping in a broad paintbrush stroke as facilitated. Can we actually ensure that public investment goes towards creation of core infrastructure? The core infrastructure could be the dredging, the draft creation, it could be on connectivity. And we actually use a supply-based growth model there to create a facilitative environment for the port in which private sector can come in and set up specific facilities. So you've actually taken out the risk of some of the holding costs from a private entity and transferred an element of that risk to the government by providing basic core infrastructure to facilitate other investments into the port and then enable private sector players to come in and create more investment in specific capacities. I think the second point on what public policy should be directed at is something that we are going to keep driving home repeatedly through the presentation, is that we treat ports as an integral element of a logistics chain and not a piece or a box within themselves. In that situation, clearly, the market environment increasingly is moving towards a free market environment. The ports with the best location, the best operating environment will automatically find investment. Money, availability of capital is not a constraint today. There have been sectors which have required far greater amounts of investment. That investment has happened. The investment happens if you have sound demand fundamentals and you have a policy and regulatory framework that supports, that demands capability to pay for service. And make sure that different types of money are addressed towards the appropriate risk that they need to take. And I think our policy direction should be within that framework. The challenge is to actually create the free market, private investment and competition with a minimum set of safeguards that we can all live with as, so to speak, a common minimum program for the sector. And again, let's all start redefining the sector as one from being a pure play port sector to being ports in an environment of logistics. And then look at policy and financing in that context. What then would be key policy determinants? Obviously, clearly, what is the role of the government? Should the government have a role, an active role? Should the government be an investor? Should the government be a landlord? Should they be involved at all in deciding which ports to focus on? Should they be, what kind of tariff regulation should they be involved with? Clearly, they need to lay down the parameters for a PSP, a partnership framework. Obviously, there's a very important role of conservancy. That water, our natural harbors are a national asset. Government should have a very, very strong role in conservancy there. The public port trusts, the public port authorities, should they be landlords or should they be operators or should they combine both roles? I think that's a dichotomy that we're living with right now, and it would be great if one of the outcomes of the study could be to set some kind of recommendatory framework for that. In a situation where we're moving a port authority towards being a landlord, how do you actually give it the capacity, capability and teeth to act as a landlord? Because clearly the port has to look at issues which are outside its immediate domain. It needs to address issues of connectivity. It needs to address issues of core infrastructure creation. Can we equip them to do that? How do you usher in competition and free market in the port industry? And clearly, how do you hammer home the issues and the requirements of inland connectivity as being an integral element and important part of the development of the port sector itself? As we see it, the draft maritime policy and specifically the investment plan proposed in the NMBP are two key instruments of policy through which the government is looking at addressing some of these issues. And moving forward, each port is developing its own strategic plan. And these should also be elements of addressing these issues. What is happening in these? And what are some of the key policy questions that we believe have not been answered in the formulation of the NMBP or the investment plan? One clearly is, and we'll see this as we move into some examples moving forward, where should the government investment be directed to? As of now, government investment is going across multiple activities on a project-specific basis rather than on a sectoral basis within ports. A question that's already come up and a question that we're asking again, do we focus equally across all 12 ports from a policy framework? Do we let ports emerge based on free market conditions? Should the core port infrastructure be supply-led, as in the case of China, or should it be demand-led? Clearly, there is a case for segmenting port infrastructure into two parts. Those which are PSPizable, which clearly can be demand-led and have far shorter gestation periods for creation of those capacities, versus those that should be supply-led, which is ensuring a competitive platform for the port. Clearly, those investments should in an ideal scenario, be supply-led rather than be incrementally demand-led. So can we start off with deeper drafts, for example? Logistics infrastructure inefficiency leads to fairly significant national losses. On a temporal basis, year to year, people, especially in the commodities business, are seeing volumes change because of logistics infrastructure. Iron ore, I think, is a classic case in point. As long as global prices of iron ore stay at about $50 a ton, you're going to be competitive exporting out of India. The day they drop below 40, we're going to wipe out half of this 80 million tons that's being exported. Because you have a mining cost of just $4, but you have a transportation cost ranging from $10 to $25, depending on what combination of mine and port you use. So we can't really be held to commodities either growing or falling based on the quality of our logistics infrastructure, nor can we actually project commodities. I think projecting commodities becomes infructuous in the absence of integrated infrastructure to actually enable us to export these commodities. The last question is, while containers are growing rapidly, the moot point is, are they growing enough? Are we actually staying happy at a 15% growth level, which is causing our trade intensity of GDP to stay stuck at a level of about 28 to 29%, while ideally it should move up to about 40% compared to, say, China's 66%. Now, China is artificial because it's very, very manufacturing led. But in the Indian context, should we move up from a trade intensity of 29% to about 40%, which is actually going to cause a container growth of about 23% every year for the next 15 years, maybe even more, which will take us far closer to the pure play container handling facilities of China after you knock out the transshipment. Starting with the NMDP. As of now, the investment plan of the NMDP is an agglomeration of different investment plans of the different ports. As we've said, it does not have, and this is a debatable question, we are raising it deliberately to elicit some response. It doesn't have a clear policy building block framework. It doesn't, as of now, include a strategic plan for the port. The strategic plans are now being developed. It doesn't actually question what funding sources should go towards which type of project. We have a classic case of a multi-level parking lot being built with port money. Now that clearly is a project that can probably go into the PSP domain. Releasing port resources for core infrastructure projects for the port. At a base level, are the projects necessary? Are the ones that we are talking about doing in the public-private domain actually financially viable? Because what we want is a plan where if we're saying 50 to 60% is coming from private sector, we should actually have some hope of those projects coming through. I think the final point is it provides at a policy level equal importance across ports. Now that's a fundamental issue that one needs to debate, not necessarily take a point of view one way or the other, but at least debate. If I view the NMDP through a different lens, rather than saying what is the source of financing, and actually look at the NMDP by different project types, I think there are some startling facts that emerge. Out of the total investment of 55,000 crores, only 3% is going towards efficiency infrastructure improvement. The rest of it is actually going towards a lot of new facility creation. Now, while it's debatable as to what the percentage of investment should be in efficiency improvement, clearly it should be more than 3%. The other issue is, well, almost coincidentally, what we are calling core infrastructure, which is breakwater, dredging, etc. The total cost is adding up to about 14,000 crores. The resource allocation adds up to only 3,000 crores from the government side, and to expect significant private investment into some of these core activities actually may be difficult. You have to first create these facilities in order for private investment to then come in. The other is clearly the focus that is required on port connectivity. The loss, economic loss because of lack of port connectivity, especially on the bulk materials, is significantly large that we can't ignore it. And any policy framework or financing plan has to actually consider how do we make these projects happen in an environment moving forward. We've done some numbers on breaking up the investment required, and one actually sees that more than half can come from actual users. But that half is going to come only if this 34% of the investment, which is government-led, which is into connectivity, which is into dredging, which is into breakwaters, which is into enabling the port to attract more traffic. Only if that happens will the balance 54% come